Hi, good afternoon. Today, 9th of May 2021, it's a Sunday afternoon. I would like to take this opportunity to present some topic about TPC, Test of Professional Competence. Let us dive in. Okay, as you all know, for an estate agent to qualify as a registered estate agent, the person need to pass the written examination as well as later on do the probationary estate agency practice. So that means they call themselves as probationary estate agent, PEA. And after having completed the PEA training period, then they submit for the assignment, we call this task. After having gone through that process of submitting, then be called in for a oral exam. This oral meeting up with the panel of examiner is called the TPC. So we call it TPC, Test of Professional Competence. So this my training on 2 years. I have done 2 years of diary work, and now I am getting ready for this TPC interview. So I'm doing this video presentation recording to in a sense do some recording for registering my effort all these 3 years, and see whether it may benefit you who is coming on board to become a registered estate agent also. So this process may take some time because of the waiting. Indeed, we have people who are waiting in line, in queue, for even months and even years because of the numbers which is building up over many graduations, and also calling in for interview. And board is now having issue because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So there will be SOP to actually maintain the the safety of everyone, and therefore this will expect to have a lot of delays in the future TPCs. So it's not surprising that you get TPC delayed for even a year nowadays for those who have submitted and asking for interview. So without this interview, without passing on with this interview, a person cannot be qualified as a registered estate agent, or for that matter, cannot be qualified as a registered valuer or registered property manager in Malaysia. So this is a lengthy process in waiting. However, let me not get involved in the asking of why is it so, but then to answer the question of how we can perform better and try to, if can possible, maybe clear the interview in 1 or 2 sessions. Let me start. So TPC is actually divided into three parts. First part is the part on the diary, and then the second part on the task and the write up for own experience, and the last part is the question and answer. Well, we have explained about the process of getting a registration to be a practicing registered estate agent in Malaysia, and therefore those process of written exam, having to do training for probation, and after that submit the task. So what are these processes that need to go through for a estate agent? Final test actually to get registered, to have the license to set up a firm. So this part, you need to actually finish the written exam first. After having registered as a probationary estate agent, being actually registered with the number, then only you are allowed to start to do your work diary. So this work diary for a person who has a diploma in estate agency from the board is actually 2 years. After having clocked in for 1 year, you submit your work diary for marking. Then the second year continues on as a work diary to register your activities. After completion of these 2 years, you have completed the 2 years, you need to submit the second year diary also for marking. So under the marking process, it takes about 4 months to come back. So waiting is always inevitable. So at the end, the likely scenario is you get both years of diary being marked and then sent back to you, and you pass up the required task and experience write up. After all, these are the three written work apart from the work diary. So the task 1 is also about same amount of words like task 2, which is 2,000 to 4,000 words, with the standard format of how to present a research paper. Task 1 is about agency processes. That means you are an agent being appointed to do a subsale of property, and after completion of the work done, you register all your processes. So that's why it's called agency processes. Task 2 is more for project marketing, which is actually in terms of consultancy work, plus also helping the developer to sell their properties, helping developer to market and sell their properties. Then the last part is the oral question and answer, which is divided again into four subparts. Four subparts are here involve law, regulation, practice, and they call it topical section, topical issues. I would not go into the details on the four subparts. You may want to check my website, maybe on these four subparts. Let me maybe direct you to the website for some of these TPC information in the website as well. So this estateagentexam.com is a website which includes part 1 and part 2 written exam. Although there is a button or a bar on top, menu bar on top, which put in as TPC. So this TPC, you can click TPC PEA registration and submission. This part, I recorded down the processes after completion of written exam. What should you do to register yourself as a PEA, and also how to do the form filling to submit the documents. This one you would likely need to, when it comes to your term to do it, then you have to sit down and fill up the forms and submit through your supervisor, having your supervisor to sign on some of these papers. The other part that I like to mention is the circulars on the changes. There are some changes for how TPC is conducted. So now they say that they want to have 4 attempt rule. That means they will allow a candidate to have 4 attempts for the question and answer session. 4 areas with 4 attempts. Anyway, a lot of the processes can be seen in my website under registration as PEA. So TPC, PEA registration, and then TPC processes. So you can go into this website to check on the how about to register as a PEA, and also to how to submit for your diary work diary, as well as your project later. So let us go back to the presentation slide. So I continue from here that eventually my objective of doing this presentation is to record my journey through this TPC process, and hopefully may be able to benefit the listeners here. So what are the overall processes and the possible pitfalls for us to consider, and how about some difficulties that I face, as well as how do I overcome or try to overcome this problem with some solutions. It may suit you, it may not suit you. Of course, this is already the last part of your estate agent exam, and therefore it is only time and how many attempts you try to pass through to get your e-license. So see, the setting you look at is when to start to do your PEA. As a PEA, you do your work diary, and then when is the start to do your task and do your experience write up. So in fact, how do you start in the two aspects that I want to discuss. Of course, you may be sitting for your examination in part 1 and part 2 now, and this is actually too early to think about for candidates sitting for written exam in part 1 and part 2. But anyway, just a background information for you. If you are in final part of your written exam, maybe you can think about this also, to come in to know why and how you can in fact do better in your future TPC lah. So completion of written exam, you have to complete your written exam. You have to actually get your PEA number first. So having done the PEA number, the timing that is given when you register as a PEA. So the registration letter will inform the candidate when this training period is supposed to start. So if later you have actually received from the board saying that you are supposed to start, as for myself, supposed to start on the August of a particular year, although you have received your letter maybe earlier, like July or June of the year, but you are at that moment of time still with waiting in line of waiting. So your work diary should start after the date that is been given to you lah. Of course, the difference could be 1 or 2 weeks only, and this particularly it's important for PEA should start registration of work diary upon getting a PEA number. You cannot be practicing as a PEA until you actually in law being registered as a PEA lah. So this is a similar concept as a real estate negotiator who has attended the NCC but not yet given a rent tag. So if you are still so-called waiting in line, so you cannot practice estate agency even your boss in fact allow you to do work. In that sense, the work is actually more of an administrative manner. You are in law not entitled to actually carry out estate agency practice. So this is the same concept. So a PEA registering work diary must be after the date of a PEA number being given, the date of appointment as a PEA. So how to start? You need to purchase work diary from board. Roughly it takes some time from Incheck 1 to courier down to you. If you are in Klang Valley, you can drop by at the office and then to make a purchase, 10 ringgit per book with some courier charges. So this I would recommend that you buy 2 if you are in the 2-year category. Buy 2 so that in completion of the first book, you can straight away continue your second book. Use both pages as you open up. This means that when you open up the book, on the left and the right pages, you register it as 1 week for those 2 pages. Rather than actually using 1 page for 1 week, that means that you actually end up having half the book filled and need to actually submit for the marking after 1 year. So in that sense, in fact, you are cramping everything onto half a book, and you cannot tear the book into half so that you can retain the other half to continue your second year. So may as well use both sides of pages and register for a whole year to be submitted. And while the second book, you separately use the second book for the second year. So write the week number on the top part of the page so that the examiner knows that you have registered 52 weeks for the whole book. And likely the registration of the details I will show you later in the subsequent slide. Penalty for not submitting it within the 30 days. That means, let's say you have completed your 2 years diary work, the second year diary work, and then your last day is actually on the 31st of August. Then you need to submit that particular second year diary up within September. Similarly, as in the first year also, if you completed your first year diary work on the 31st of August, National Day, then your diary should reach the board within 30 days after the 31st of August, which is within the 30 days in September. So some people, they actually do not tidy up. So probably they have issue of not able to tidy up the diary work. So they so-called procrastinate until maybe 1 or 2 months later. So when that happens, board when they receive your booklet beyond the 30 days, then they will put down penalty. Some penalty I have heard of is they will return the mark. They will return and mark your diary work as incomplete or mark your diary work to carry on another 2 or 3 months extra. So this is a penalty for those who never actually complete on time. So this is a sample of how it looks like in the recording of the diary work. So on the far left hand side is that means your registering of the particular day. So maybe the convention I use is actually the date of the day, and then the particular, is it a Saturday or Sunday. So if you open it up, there will be another page here. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is on the left hand page, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because Saturday and Sunday, sometimes you have less work, sometimes you have more work. All depends on which day you might have more work. Then you have a choice of putting more on to left or the right for your choice of how to register work. On the other right hand column part, you actually see this cost of training area. So cost of training area is cost per area of approved professional experience in the booklet. There is a yellow booklet which is the rules and the guideline of TPC. So you need to check what is the code that is assigned for this work. So like for example, inventory checking is 2.4A. So therefore, in the current state where I register as meter reading, passing on the key inventory keeping, tenancy agreement to do the keys. So these are really in the sub area of the approved professional experience within the yellow book. So you need to check the yellow book and take down the code number to be inserted here. So let's say you are looking at the part on whole TPC process. It is yourself doing it. Of course, you prepare the work diary, the task, and the experience right up. You are coordinating with Inject 1 in board. Inject 1 is the person involved with students and also professionals for the estate agency area. Of course, the board has got other subsections like valuation, property management, and others, where there are other people involved with probationary valuer or probationary property managers. So Inject 1 is particularly important because he is involved with the estate agency side. So everything go through Inject 1. And after you have sent up to Inject 1, Inject 1 will give it to the examiner who are board appointed professionals to look at the diary work and also mark the diary. We do not know who they are, although they may sign off, and with their number you can find out who they are in the board search website. So after having marked the diary, return back to you, you actually send up all your tasks to the board, to Inject 1. Inject 1 would hand over to the correct panel of examiners. So this usually consists of 3 persons. 3 persons to look at the task and also go through the task in the interview. So there are others who are also involved in the oral examination. The panel of questions are from those examiners. So we do not know who they are until the particular day for the test. Right, when to do all this? So submitting the diary within 30 days is very important. Wait for the second diary to return for confirming that the 2-year diary has been registered with the board. After that, prepare the task right up and send up to KL, send out to Inject 1. Waiting time is 4 to 6 months for the marking, for diary marking. Sometimes even worse, because your diary may be piled up by the marker, the examiner, so they may not have time to mark all at one time, so end up maybe delay further. The waiting time is 6 to 9 months for the TPC calling. So we have heard of people with all the tasks and all this preparation done, sent up to KL and on having to wait for 9 months to be called in for the interview. And the interview may also be difficult to pass because some of the issues in discussion may not be up to mark. So the candidate has to repeat the TPC. It is quite normal to hear people repeating TPC for 3 times or even 4 times because there are incomplete things in the task, as well as may not be able to answer some of the question in the oral Q&A. Right, so the task one is about agency process. Is quite a simple, easy, like day in day out job of an estate agent for a sub-sale property. Select a good sub-sale case so that you can easily, put things in order. Document you are able to complete the collection. Some people say that they sort of imagine particular case, so they do not have one single case, but then they imagine a few cases come together and then present it as one case. So this is sometimes a bit of a problem when the board may want to see documents of that single property. So sometimes you collected a good amount of information on maybe title, some of the information about sales and purchase, the previous sales and purchase. However, the layout plan or the so-called pictures, the photographs, you have not collected well, and therefore you substitute it with another property, hoping to bypass the watchful eye of the panel of examiner. So sometimes this thing can happen where the examiner is very sharp, and then they found out that in fact the title document is not able to tally or it doesn't seems to be the same property with the picture. So it may become a question in the exam and unable to answer. So this is a problem and in fact from beginning of the selection of the property until the end where property is fully transacted, approval is given, stamp duty collected, the whole process can take half year to even some one over year. So some of this may be lost, the documents may be lost. So therefore if you are able to choose one case instead of going back and dig around in the incomplete and unable to find the complete set of documents supporting that single sub-sale, so this is a problem. So end up having to sometimes even fake particular documents, which is if it is found out, then it doesn't look good so like sometimes you say, okay, I have put advertisement and many months later that particular advertisement is no more available in My Property or Muda. Some of these records actually are deleted so you did not actually collect a screenshot of that particular advertisement, now you need to produce that particular advertisement, you are unable to produce, so you produce another advertisement which is another house. So this may in a way make it harder for you to answer the question, if ever in the examination. So this is an example where you can do a search and then get a document from the website of the Land and Survey in Sarawak. So second task is the part on project marketing proposal. So this one in fact is an imaginary one, so that means you don't indeed have the same issue like task one. That means you can combine a few of the project that you have done and then try to come up with a ideal case for an imaginary one. And this a lot of the problem comes because of the issue of budgeting. That means how you're going to propose your expenditure to the developer on how certain calculation of cost is involved, expenditure budget, and therefore advertisement, how big advertisement or how extensive advertisement need to be done, and supporting document on all these costs need to be clear. So some of the examples by giving photographs and designing some brochures and leaflets and flyers, you need to comply with the law in the standard of the MBAS. So all that is important because presenting it to the board panel of interviewer and then found out that you don't follow rules and regulation, therefore you definitely cannot pass that particular exam or particular interview. You have to go back and change, and this means that another waiting of 4 or 6 or even 8 months to be called in for the second interview. Right, this is a sample which I have collected from CH William website lah. So these are documents that you may want to use in your project marketing, whereby you can show that you have done some research. Of course, what is the main message for task 1? The issue on task 1, I feel that it's about trying to register everything you can have for sub-sale case, and try to also not run away from your work diary, especially where this particular sub-sale case happened within the year that you actually wrote your diary work. Usually when it is written in the diary, then from the moment that a collection of booking was done, this timing for collection of booking need to be registered also inside the diary, work diary. So if you're presenting your task 1 with the booking fee accepted or earnest deposit accepted on a particular day, then that particular date need to be referred back to the work diary, so that you actually tally with your work carried out. Similarly, for project marketing part, you are actually able to, if you propose that you want to do advertisement in fish tail or bunting, then you must also be able to roughly estimate how many bunting and how many cost of doing this advertisement over the period of time. Maybe you're doing about 3 times a year for this developer, so therefore you need to actually mention that in the total calculation of your budget. So how would you think that the examiner will pass you or fail you? So this is actually, I guess, on the part that they want to see that you have put in effort. So you actually put in your effort to reflect that you are serious in doing this task 1 and task 2. And therefore, if serious being seen, being work done, I don't think the panel of examiners want to make life difficult for everyone who is in this examination, because they have a backlog of people waiting in queue to complete this examination. Right, I can be contactable at this number, and other work in other websites are also available on this page. Thank you very much.